So I wanted to pivot for a minute, make sure if anyone has any kind of myths or ideas out there, please let us know. One of the things that came out to me recently is this conversation of what's going to happen in the future, right? The easy first myth is we don't know what's going to happen, right? Let's get over it. However, what we do know are some of the things that are affecting the current buyers and people who are involved. I would keep an eye on things like ARMs, how many percentage of ARMs are being created. Because ARMs, if someone can't afford something, they usually get an ARM. And then if that adjusts, what happens?
And HELOCs is another one to keep an eye out for, how many HELOCs are being created right now or have been created in the last 2 years. House prices are going up, free money's all over the place. There's all kinds of things you can buy. All of a sudden equity is being created when it wasn't there before. And people are making HELOCs happen where maybe they shouldn't have. But
we learned anything back in 06. Yes. So Cindy made the comment, just be careful predictions in the future as inflation has direct correlation to real yield. Right. So a 10% return right now is great. However, if everything else goes up, that 10% drops down, right? You should be aiming for a little higher return if you can get it. And again, going back to that whole idea of schedule, and if anyone wants, I know Larry's probably jumping an idea, if figuring this out, this new schedule, you can literally buy a little higher return with a lower yield because of the way the equation figures out. So I wanted to bring up also due diligence. Due diligence is a big factor that most people want to learn about, but struggle. And I've seen this post on a couple different Facebook groups. My team has brought this up to me as well. No one's going to do your due diligence for you.
Right. And the question of how much do you do? How much can you hire out? How much is too much, if there is such a thing? How do you handle due diligence on a small scale and on a larger scale? And that's a good one, that somebody else will do it for you.
I get, so the question is, what do the big dogs do, right? We're friends with some of the bigger players and stuff like that. They do have teams that handle things.
Right.
Understand the fact that collateral file can be reviewed by an attorney or collateral management company. Get all that. Your value of property is just, we've talked about that a lot, right? Larry uses an attorney for all due diligence. I do too. I have one generic attorney, unless it's state specific, and I really have a question about something, they'll go to an attorney inside that state. You can hire big management companies who can review things and take a look at it. And there are companies out there who will review all the collateral files for you. They're not attorneys, they can figure it out, right? Missing the name off the top of my head right now out in California, but they'll take on clients, will review collateral files, and they're vast in the entire country. But
the bottom line, you've got to have human eyes on it. It can't be done by, electronic means, not fully. There's going to be a person there that knows what they're doing, that's looking at it. Even a VA, if they're specifically trained to be able to go through and see a collateral file and know what it means, okay, great. Most aren't. And so just be aware.
And there's little caveats that most people will miss on it, right? We saw a file the other day where the forbearance agreement wasn't signed by the seller.
Right.
Is that a legitimate forbearance agreement? If both parties didn't sign it, right? There's always little things. On the flip side, things like your value of your property, you can order BPO, or you can talk to an agent, which can't be automated. You got to reach out to the agent, talk to them. Reading over servicing notes, I highly recommend you do.
Agreed.
Understand the pay history, but service notes is a huge thing. It's your eyes on the property. It's like you're getting inside the property. You're getting eyes and ears into the borrower situation. And if you don't know what's going on with it, the service notes give you a lot of insight.
It's so valuable to know the story. So if they've been struggling with payments, okay, why? And if you got the servicing notes, you get a lot of those conversations that come through, or not. maybe all you see is the servicers tried to reach out 20 times over the last 2 months and just has zero response.
Yep.
But you got it. Like, if you know that, whatever it is, you can start to put together the story a little bit and then figure out where do you go from here.
You know, just to bring up some of the things I've seen over the years in servicing notes, a modification we've talked about before. What a big seller I know, I bought a loan for a modification was getting in the process of. House was on fire.
Wow.
Right? What happened? The borrower called, the house on fire. I want to know what happened to fire damage.
Yeah.
Right? Was it repaired? Was the money paid out?
Yeah.
Was the work done? Do we have pictures of that work?
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Another
big one is like, if they've done property work in a property, they've done property preservation on a house, or didn't do property preservation on a house in the north.
Right. Yeah.
Meaning you haven't looked at the property in 2 years, to 2 winters.
Yeah.
You have no key, you haven't winterized it?
Yeah. Somewhere in Michigan, or any, pick a state, Wisconsin, anything where it's going to freeze. You need to know that stuff. I have, again, way back when I was very first touring properties on some loans that I'd purchased way back then. I went into a property in Michigan, and the basement literally had 6 feet of water in it, where you could not get down in the basement. And how were you going to know that? Obviously, and had there been servicing notes at that time, I could have seen, it's been empty for this long and winterization never took place. Okay, so we've got a better idea of what's possible problems.
And it comes back to, if they're not paying a forced place insurance, right, and the borrower's not paying, is there no insurance on it at all? Is there insurance on it? And we always talk about there's 2 different kinds of insurances out there. Please watch our video before. That's a huge one, right? So knowing those kind of insights on the service notes. Yes, Jay, yes. It tells the story of the borrower. It tells the story of the loan itself. What's happened in the past. What interactions has the borrower not performing, but they've been talking to the servicer.
Yeah.
Or has this, I've seen service notes where it says borrower called and no response.
Yeah.
So the servicer didn't respond to a borrower call. To me, that means that, holy crap, this borrower wants to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And the servicer just did what they do, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's huge. So servicing notes is something you cannot outsource. I would do it in-house. I would do it yourself, review it. You could probably teach a VA to do it. However, there's so many little caveats. We're like, oh, I wonder what happened here. Or, hey, look at this. The person died, but then who's this other person involved? Oh, they rented it out, or the daughter took over. What's going on? It tells you a huge story. They got a new job, all that kind of stuff.
And it's hard to have that hired out and then get the full story.
Yes.
You're going to get somebody, let's say you hired a VA to go through that and make a few notes. That's fine, but how complete are those notes, and are they going to have the same effect as you're reading through and go, oh wait, so then if that happened, then what about this? And it can get you started on a different train of thought that you wouldn't have had otherwise.